All right, guys, here we are for another online video. We are joined by our special guest, John the host, and we are going to be watching Ape Vs Monster. Because John threw down the gauntlet and showed this poster when we were talking about us in our last video together. So you have John to thank that we're watching this movie. John, tell the people who you are and where they can find you.
This is a cautionary tale of when you're editing a video, do some fucking research on what you just pull, like from the internet. Stefan mentioned, edit responsibly, not drink responsibly, edit responsibly. He just said, "Oh, I like movies with with animals versus animals," and so I just picked the first thing that pops up, and god damn it, was that a mistake? Because now this is happening. Yeah, John the host. I host shows on the internet like these guys do.
So, not on purpose, but this did actually work out timely. The sequel is coming soon.
Oh,
called
yay.
Ape vs Mecha Ape. We will not be covering that movie.
We should.
But we gotta figure out what happened
to screener.
We gotta figure out what happened to Abraham. Abraham.
Oh man! But yeah, so it was a happy accident that you happened to pull that, and there actually is some reason someone may be searching this title in the near future. But here we are to talk about Ape vs Monster. I am 100% grasping at any possible straw I could remotely get here. Boys, let me hear your non-spoilers thoughts on Ape vs Monster.
Sometimes we jokingly say, which we're not supposed to say out, on YouTube anymore, but like, I wanted to blank myself after watching this movie, or like during watching this movie, or something like that. But I'm not a hack. I'm not gonna say that. I wanted the moon to crash into Earth, ending all life permanently, and like erasing all of the legacy of our civilization from from galactic records. That's what I wanted to happen. About 47 minutes into this film.
I believe that is what happened to Eric Roberts' career.
Something along those lines. Visual reenactment dramatization.
He is actually like he is a tell over the last, I'll say 10 years. If Eric Roberts is in the movie, more often than not, you should miss that movie. Like, that's just unfortunately how things have gone. And he was, I would say, a mark of quality for a while. He's very good. And I actually really like Eric Roberts.
Sure.
But it's that he just accepts things. I wonder if it'll come out that he has some sort of a Bruce Willis-y thing going on, and he's just cashing in, because he does so many movies that are so bad.
He's done this for years.
Either like a Nick Cage or a Bruce Willis, right? Or somewhere on that spectrum. Or
but Nick at least hits some out of the park, like every 12. Eric just throws out 100 and just takes L after L.
Yeah, just the pattern of accepting anything or whatever.
Yeah.
Top comment from IMDb, by the way, was even Eric Roberts couldn't save this or something like that. And I was just like, what planet are you?
But if you don't watch garbage movies and you just see this, and you're like, oh, Eric Roberts is in this, awesome. Right. You will not even know that Eric has taken a departure. So you're like, oh man, okay, and they're like, oh my god, what is this?
There's a sliding scale. There's a sliding scale where it's just like, okay, maybe John Cusack, and then you get to John Travolta, then you get to Bruce Willis. Eric Roberts is the tipping of that scale. Then you're just like, okay, this is not for me. Because, all these actors, even like Jason Statham or whatever at this point, Statham, he's at the top of that, oh shit, probably I'm going to pass tier at this point.
He did
anyone that's in the Expendables, that's not Sly.
Don't you drag Dolph, you bitch.
Oh no, that kindergarten cop thing was the same shit.
No. So I will press back on that. I will press back on that. That Dolph still picks movies that are so bad they're good. While Eric is only in things that are bad. I actually still enjoyed Kindergarten Cop. We got a good review out of Kindergarten Cop 2. We had fun talking about that. This is not going to be fun.
Eric filmed this at the airport on the way somewhere else to film something else.
Eric Roberts will show up for a sandwich at this point. He's just happy to be there. You know,
like,
I'm actually curious. We're in the process. We're in pre-production on a movie. I am gonna see what it costs. I will reach out. I will see what it costs to put Eric Roberts in a movie.
Do you
and
have
we will
John's?
have Eric in this.
Do you have a Jimmy John's? A Jimmy John's?
Oh, yes, we do. I can get him a sandwich.
You can afford them. You can afford them. No, I mean, we're not even being mean. But to be fair to Eric Roberts, he's been doing this for years. Like, he has that almost like Cameron Mitchell-esque ness about him, where he's just been in these little tiny bit parts. But I was surprised how much he was in this one. He didn't really leave his seat. He didn't have to do much. He was on the phone. Hello, yeah, kill the monkey. Don't kill the monkey. Bye. You know, that was the extent of his performance. But he has been showing up in, huge movies all the way to the bottom. He just likes to work. He doesn't want to be at home.
I think that's exactly it. And honestly, I don't fault the man for any of this.
No.
I'm sure it's very fun. Even if you're in a bad movie, you never have to watch it. The punishment is only in the watching. The making is probably great. There's sandwiches, craft services, talk to people, pretty ladies, whatever you got. But the watching
Not with this cast. Not with this fucking cast.
I don't know. I bet there's still a dude with a Kraft cheese single on a bread, and you know.
No, I meant just like with Kentucky Fried Colonel over here, and you have Miss Overacting, Linda Murphy over here, and bad Russian accent over here. He's probably just
I can't.
Jesus.
Are you saying Russian Gal Gadot wasn't a gold piece of gem in this movie?
We are running out of time.
Oh my God! I was thinking of Russian Claudia Black because I was thinking Pitch Black.
I'm stuck on this, craft single services now. Instead of craft services, what I'm doing. We just let that whiz by. That's perfect.
Oh, cheese whiz by.
I forgot to take the product. He taught. All right, I'm sorry. This is like ageist and ableist or whatever the fuck.
Sure.
But like, people get older. It happened to Dolph. It happened to Carrie Fisher, and it happened to Eric Roberts. He has fucking dentures, or he's had too much Botox, or his tongue is like stroked out like tongue or something. He's old, and you can hear it in his voice. Something is catching. It's like, I'm Eric Roberts. He has a weird. There's something fucking happening.
It's a perfect impersation. I
know.
You were Eric
Exactly.
Roberts.
Exactly.
Without looking, how old do you think he is?
72.
Without looking. Okay.
68.
He's only 66.
I was pretty close.
He shouldn't be acting this old.
It doesn't matter how old you are, right?
But he looks great for that age, honestly. Like,
yes, but he has
the look isn't the issue.
Sad. It makes me like depressed to watch someone that I liked sounding so old.
But it's fine when you're playing. What is he, the president or a governor or whatever? Like, the age makes sense. It's when they take these same people, and this would go back to Kindergarten Cop 2, and you're like, and he'll be with the 20-year-old girl, and he's the stud.
It's sort of my thing, my one vice.
How do you stay in such good shape if you eat so much sugar?
And you're like, is he 70? That's weird.
No. And to clarify, the main thing here is that I remember Eric Roberts when he could control his face and he could fucking talk properly.
You think you know me? I asked you a question. You think you know me? Because the way you're looking at me, we must be old friends.
And now that he's so fucking old, it like depresses me. It reminds me of my own mortality and the Grim Reaper breathing down my neck, and I don't like it anymore, right? It takes away.
You have me picturing Evan from Bruce Almighty with his tongue.
Even the presence of Eric Roberts could not comfort me through this experience.
No.
Did you leave a comment on IMDb, Lee?
Perhaps. Perhaps on my alternate.
All right, we have gone on a sideways tangent. We're entering the spoilers. If you've seen it or don't care, follow us over there, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
Spoilers, have you seen Kong versus Godzilla or whatever? That's just the surface of what they were ripping off on this one. It goes far deeper.
That is what Asylum does. They just rip things off, and that's all well and good. That's fine. But the issue is, in a movie called Ape Vs Monster, it's 30 seconds of Ape Vs Monster. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it's 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, 5 seconds here. The fight is literally ba, bite, ba, got him.
Neck break.
and it's over.
When he breaks his neck and they just cut it out and rotate it in Photoshop and stamp it.
So cute.
It just turns to the side or whatever.
Yeah.
I like didn't know what was going on. I was like, wait, and then she's like, he's just killed the lizard, and I'm like, that was what? Really? That was it? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Not he just murdered my best friend, because no one cares when anyone dies in this fucking movie.
Well, also, things that are like 100 feet tall sneak up on people on flat ground, like, constantly.
I've lost visual.
And you're like, how are they doing that? They're magic, I don't know. But what I do know is that somebody who wrote this also watched the Superman animated show from the 90s. Because the whole fucking premise of like, oh no, this monkey friend of mine that got sent into space and came back and grows to exorbitant sizes is directly an episode from the show. It was Lois Lane's monkey.
But Lois, you knew one day Titano would have to leave us. He has to go on his mission now.
Her dad was a general, not a scientist, but it's the same fucking plot.
Monkey. Wow. Well, so DC, was obviously involved.
We're aping a lot of IPs during this.
Yeah.
This
what else did they steal, John?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Stole my fucking soul. So, I still try to give it the old college try. I'm like really trying to focus because I knew I had to talk about this slimy pile of shit. And then like 10 minutes, it was like 7 o'clock at night. And I'm sitting on the couch next to my kids, my poor kids. This is like child abuse, making them sit with me.
You let children watch this?
And I was just like, I wake up
of bad productions.
I see the Gila monster get his neck snapped. The next thing I realize is the credits, and my daughter's like, you missed the end. I said, you know what? That's okay. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. The best line of the movie, just to put it into context for the audience, the best line in the movie is, the pod wasn't banged from the outside, it was banged from the inside.
The ship wasn't banged in. It was banged out.
That's favorite
what we're
line?
working
My
on.
favorite line is, he's not acting with malice.
Abraham does. He's not acting with malice. He only strikes when provoked.
And then it was like the last scene you saw him was he like literally ate her friend. And I'm like,
right.
What? I also love that like he gets the goo like literally injected into his veins. And just kind of becomes a large monkey. A Gila monster, which is like, a quadruped,
Rose shoulders, human shoulders.
It becomes a fucking, it has a tail with spikes on it. It's an actual Godzilla ripoff, and it just drank a little water that touched the goo. So I don't know what the rules are. I also don't understand how aliens that have a Millennium Falcon-esque vehicle come here and like their plan revolved around, oh yeah, we'll send in a monkey and maybe some goo will touch him and we'll take over his mind. And oh, look, another lizard drank the water and now we can take over his mind.
But didn't they keep saying the lizard was in control? They said the lizard was in control, right?
They were in control of the lizard.
No, I get that, but they're just like, okay, but now the lizard's controlling the ape, but I knew that the aliens were controlling everything.
The monsters.
I think the movie rotted your brain, but it honestly doesn't matter because it's so irrelevant.
While that plot line was happening, while they were developing it, I was like, no, I don't believe you. This is not happening.
My body can't accept this.
Well, and then they're like, oh, the signal's going up, the signal's going down. I'm like,
the longer the signal is down, the more mindless and destructive he will become.
Like that, none of that's happening. I'm not paying attention to any of this. No, sorry, I rejected.
It's
not true.
Gila Monster looked better than the ape, though. Gila Monster looked better than the ape.
Yeah, because the ape was like the worst shit I've ever seen. So
well, because the ape was probably just they probably just were like, okay, we'll just slightly tweak this thing that's already modeled, while they probably had to actually model the fake Godzilla to not get sued.
So, yeah, because an ape's an ape. You can't be like, oh, you copied the ape. Yeah, they probably just bought an ape from like whatever.com models through
apeshit.com.
3dreadytorig.org.
They gave a shit and they tried to go the extra mile by because they're like, oh, they're glowing. They look like fucking Twilight vampires, or where they had like shimmery skin sometimes.
But you're super chimp.
Abraham.
Abraham, yeah, he didn't show any glow.
But it just looked like the chroma key was wrong, which it was.
Well, honestly,
right.
Whenever you have a solution, this is something I argue for all the time. I go, you could have fixed that with words. Why didn't you just say words? And they're like, it looks like shit. Say they're shiny because of the fucking goo. And like, honestly, I applaud that. Good. You used words to solve a problem. And like, it's just, the issue is, you used effect shots for the stupid spaceship bullshit when you didn't need any aliens at all. Like, it would have been totally acceptable to not have aliens whatsoever. You could have pulled out all that bit where we need to have our radio towers and our signals. Oh no, they destroyed the one that we put on the giant penis in Washington.
Delaney, the transmitter has been attached to the monument. The signal will begin broadcasting shortly.
There's another one somewhere in a briefcase. We'll use that.
A prototype of the device my father created to sever alien control of the monsters is
somewhere in a van.
Like, and pulled that out and just made the movie shorter, and it would have been like a blessing. And just had it, maybe one more fight with these monsters or do something.
But you make a good point. They could have doubled the length of the fight to like 53 seconds or whatever, had they just reclaimed, even working backwards from literally all of the budget and the actions that were taken. That fucking fake Millennium Falcon and those weird, like, the signal and the lines on the map, all of that could have been put into the fight instead, right?
They had to do that so they wouldn't have gotten sued, though, because that was the only thing that differentiated that between Kong versus Godzilla, the actual movie.
John, these are people that made Transmorphers. Do you think they give a shit?
We have a gang! Abort mission. Repeat. Abort mission. They're closing in. They're about to reach the perimeter.
Shut it down.
Yeah. No, I think coming down like let me tell you like a little story about watching this movie.
Can you say it in a rap set to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
Phenomena.
No, so like the pod comes down and I'm like, in my head, it kind of like clicks. But at this point, I don't know if there's going to be an ape or a monster in there yet, right? But I think, the pod has a look, and I'm like, okay. But then I'm like, well, that couldn't be like one of our space pods that we would have sent a monkey to space in or whatever.
The U.S. first sent a chimp named Ham into space in 1961. His flight only lasted 18 minutes.
How long did like chimps, live? And I'm like Googling all that. So I had all the information ready to go. And then like,
how long do they breathe for? Their whole life? Because it had 30 years of air in that little pod?
Do they ever address how it survived?
No, they don't give a shit. Nobody understands how life works.
Do they say like, the goo must have preserved him or so?
Didn't it not even touch the goo until it got out of the pod? I thought that the goo was on the outside.
They said it's like breathing the goo or something. It was like seeping in. That's why Abraham's mutations are different or whatever.
Gradual microparticulate intake, much like a gas.
Okay.
It slowly penetrated the capsule and mixed with the oxygen Abraham was breathing.
But the point is, as the movie tried to tell me things, I was like, yes, I know. I already thought of this or whatever. I even Googled chimps. Chimps can live 50, 60 years or whatever. So that's
how long can they live without air?
No, the goo.
The goo.
Did it encounter goo instantly? I feel like literally that capsule would like, okay, it's heading out. Oh, we lost track of it, and he'd be dead. While you could still see it, like
29 years later, he finally hits the goo. Maybe he's undead.
How did it even it's all so dumb.
The aliens were by it, and they were like feeding it goo in space. They were taking care of Abraham, maybe.
They were doing
what the
their
fuck
own
ever.
Experiments. See?
Yeah.
Oh, man's duality to man.
Can we just think
God.
it's a race that can not only transverse time and space and get here with that technology, has to use our fucking chimp that it finds in space to reverse track it back and send it back, knowing it will multiply its size? Like, if it can take over the minds of things, why doesn't it just take over our minds?
Or
just make it rain goo.
Or just use one of their cool space animals and send those to Earth.
We couldn't fight a spaceship. I'm sure they've got space lasers.
I mean, if they feel committed to the bit enough to want to use a giant animal, they could have sent one of their animals.
Yeah.
An alien
this is like
versus an ape.
I love watching like bullshit movies. Like even there was some charm in like what was it, Monster High or something. By the way, hashtag release the Monster High review.
It'll come out. It's in the queue. This one will probably come out first to match this timely.
Yo, this camera froze with this look like. Fuck you. I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's just like those kind. Like, there's charms in horrible movies. It's just this is one of the reasons why I try to stay away from like asylum films, like these horrible like factory companies that just make hot dog movies that are just like they have nothing to them other than their poster is trying to cash in on whatever big blockbuster just came out.
Yes, posters and names are there to trick and distract and whatever. And I get what you're saying, but I will say I do actually enjoy half of Asylum's movies. Like some of them are actually doing something like fun on a lower budget. Like Aquarium of the Dead was fun.
Take that, bitch!
Like Zombies, fun. Like that kind of shit is good because they're not directly aping off of something. They are a movie that is made by a company. But this one, this has some of the elements that I like. Like why did that Russian lady kamikaze her helicopter into the fucking back of a giant monster? When we already established that helicopter is fully loaded with gigantic weapons and chain guns. I don't know which one would be more effective. I can't be sure, but I think when you crash a helicopter, they're designed not to explode with the missiles. It would just be the gas, which I can't imagine is more powerful than giant missiles.
That was the emotional, crutch of the movie.
Don't you understand the power of love?
Target on Abraham's back. We must find him first and try to arrest his bro.
We will, my wife.
Well, Gal Gadot taught me, yes.
And the world will be as one.
Yeah, thank you.
And her father, the father. Oh my god.
Oh, the main character's father, the fucking dad in a wheelchair that shows up.
You're my adopted daughter. I was like, oh my god.
That was so stupid.
Don't even
Why did
say
they do
that.
things like that? What's going on?
That's just a trope. Like that, honestly, things like that don't bother me. They're expected. Like I'm half surprised that the Russian lady didn't have a twin sister who came back up. You killed my sister. Like does some crazy shit.
Like
yeah.
Fight you with sexual warfare. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not true. Look me in the eye.
No.
Look at me, Ava.
Okay, the way that I understand these movies, the way that I get into them is when I was a kid, I liked Godzilla movies, like the Toho, whatever, the old Godzilla stuff. And often, especially as a child, the parts in between the monsters, right, are like inscrutable. They're like, they were Japanese and dubbed. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Wait, are you in the building that Godzilla's about to step on? Oh no, you're on the phone with them and they're in the building. Wait, no, they're not in the building either? Wait, are you even in Japan? What's happening? Like, it was so confusing, but I just liked the parts with like the monster because it was like a payoff and stuff, right? In this movie, it would cut back and forth and it was like always worse. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. No part of it was like, oh, I'm in the good part now. The talking part was like torture.
And that, although naked to the visible eye, that same emittance is detectable within Abraham, albeit at much lower levels, and that this emittance is internal.
And all of the other parts were such like a disappointment. I can't imagine how this happened and why this exists.
It's always a problem of scale. And like, I don't mean the actual fluctuating scale of our giant monsters, which is an issue that bothers me. the scale of the project itself. So there was no reason this had to be a giant monster. You could have framed it differently on the poster and made people think you were walking into a thing with a gigantic, like, monster of an ape and like, a Godzilla. But if you would have made these things small and just, oh no, he's full of rage. Oh, it crashed in a small Taiwanese fishing village and it's fucking massacring people. It would have been much better and you could actually film that. Because your issue here is you end up with a thing that is impossible to handle on the budget you're doing. So, like, you constantly end up where it's like, okay, we're sending these 2 females and they're going to be the only people in charge of stopping this whole thing.
He's up ahead, 50 meters.
And then,
he was gay, but he wasn't a female. Hold on.
This has nothing to do with us.
Wait, who was gay?
The best friend. No.
Wait,
no.
Lab tech
I'm making a joke, but yeah.
Who looks like the 8th Hemsworth brother that no one's ever heard of.
You've lost your mind. It's happened. It's official.
It's all right there. I'm 100% certain.
Yeah, the Josh Gad, the budget Josh Gad, yeah.
Yeah, that I could see. But so, like, you just have these 2 girls out in the field, and you're like, wait a minute, why would anybody, or then they're joined by, like, 7 army men or whatever.
What are you doing here?
Same thing you are, hunting that monkey. We received a report you had set down. We came to assist.
And you're like, why would anyone ever be on the floor? You know what you're facing. Fucking bomb the shit out of it. You're in the middle of nowhere. You're in a desert. This is the perfect opportunity to kill things. Yeah. And then when they finally do get to DC, fucking DC, the goddamn capital, they're like, get out of there! Abandon it! Fuck it! And
get out of DC while you still can. We're gonna burn this whole place to the ground.
To hell with that.
Fuck it, abandon it.
We're burning
the whole thing down.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like, and like, there's poor writing, but there's also just, like, idiocy.
But
like,
the the dialogue didn't match what was going on at all. If your brain is going to accept that there are these giant, horribly CGI monsters running amok, right, and you're like chasing them down in a CG Humvee. But then it flashes to the dialogue, and the pissy friend is just like, I didn't bring my jogging gear today. I don't want to like get out of my car and take a hike.
We'll have to proceed on foot.
You're joking, right? I'm prepared for hiking. Where are you going?
It's just like, what the fuck? Like, no one knows. Like, you're in a different movie. Like, everyone is like not talking about the same thing because everyone's just making like pithy little jokes and jabs at each other, or talking about how great America is, and we should all listen to Bush and Putin. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this movie?
Space program was Bush and Putin's dream. Making first contact together.
Murphy, when is that innocent bubble of yours gonna burst?
Yeah.
No, and the dialogue is often filmed where it's like super close to them and it's only from like one angle or whatever.
Well, because there's no set, so yeah,
right, yeah.
Well, and like there were times where I were like, they're not even there together, like on that day. And then at the end of the conversation, Eric Roberts would like go touch her like once in like one quick shot just to like establish we're here, we're on the same set together.
And what's that?
Faith.
I was like, wait, what? And because they would film conversations with people in different ways. Where I'm like, it like feels like you're not really there, but then they would show you they are there. Or
I love Russian Ambassador.
Like, naked. Yeah, it's crazy.
Russian Ambassador was
on
great.
Skype the whole time. Yeah. The guy just got a guy from fucking whatever to be on Skype.
It's someone's like Russian high school like teacher, right? And he's just like sitting there and can we just like give you $5 and just you film these lines?
Critical situation. Do you understand what will happen if we don't stop this?
This also came out in 2021, so there's a chance this was filmed directly in the COVID pandemic bullshit, so that we might be stuck with like, you can only have 6 people on set at any given time. And Eric said, I will not be in the same room with that person. They could have COVID. Because like, and that's not something that's strange to do with just in general famous people. Like our buddy did a movie with Adam West, and he's like, I will not be in the room with those people. And like they filmed all his scenes this way, and then the rest of the cast is over here.
None of you people came to my funeral.
Like, that's just a thing that, like, people do, especially as you get older. You're like, I understand it. You don't want to be around germy strangers or crazies, whatever. But The issues I have are not those things. It is everything else. Trust me, I'm giving allowances, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's and there's even cheeky things that I like that might just be we didn't have enough effect shots left. Like when the fucking monkey is first breaking out of that thing, it cuts back to like the door, and it's just like a hand puppet thing of a hand.
That was cool.
And,
that
like,
was cool.
more
Yeah.
practical things are what I enjoy, but I have a feeling that wasn't for me. They were doing that out of necessity because like we don't have the budget. We can't put another CG hand here.
No, because that's really important, because that was the problem, is like the interaction. I like agree with you that a smaller movie would have been like more doable and made more sense, but they were going for this
better.
And well, and that's why the Godzilla thing makes sense to me, because you can just cut and be like, oh no, he's doing a thing, and cut to like a whole CG thing that never has to interact. But they kept trying to make things interact. And that monkey, especially, where he's like hitting people and shit. I'm like, what am I looking at? This is so bad. What are you doing?
And he's already gigantic size at the time when they cut back to the human hand glove. That's in the scale of you're seeing it through the glass piece of a window. So like everything there references, and that's like banana for scale. I know that's not a giant fucking hand, so don't do it. Just don't do it.
Who's your favorite character? I have mine, but I want to hear who your guys' were.
Oh, it would probably be somebody who's in it for like 4 seconds and dies. Maybe the guy who's guarding the pod alone, like miles away from his Jeep that is the light source.
You sure that's a good idea?
How the hell did a monkey survive this?
I don't know, McDaniels. Why don't you tell us?
He's like, are you taking a shit, Anderson, or whatever?
I'm gonna go shit in the pod.
Sounds like you're ready to camp out in that capsule.
I don't think there's enough room for me to take a shit.
Well, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, fuck this shit. And I'm like, what? No, my favorite character is the like Russian lab tech who was just doing her fucking job.
It appears that any exposure in our environment eventually causes reversible cellular breakdown. Every sample we've acquired is diminishing along this line.
David Bowie! Yes, mine too.
Everything's like about to go to shit. Really? I was trying to pick. I'm like, I know you're not gonna pick this person. I'll just pick this person as a joke.
Now, for real, it's Gal Gadot is my favorite.
That's it, Milea. We're doing everything we can, and I'm no sleep.
Are we?
Oh no!
Now. And she's like, oh no! And then bang, the whole thing like explodes or whatever.
You're talking about the blonde one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Portia de Rossi playing David Bowie from the 80s. Oh my god, that's mine too. Yeah. Love that one.
Excellent.
We gotta go.
What?
Pick someone else? Oh, then Dr. Oh my god, Dr. Overactor.
Abraham was lost in space for 30 years. Can you imagine the toll that has taken on his mind?
Linda Murphy or whatever, the main character that was running out of like, she would stumble like during the sentence. She'd be like, "We really gotta go find Abraham because he's out there."
Is this true, sir? Abraham is part of the space program. For all intents and purposes, he is a test pilot.
It's just like she would run out of air, so then she'd finish the line.
I guarantee you, this was all like, we got it, next, go.
Oh yeah.
Not like doing takes.
Eric Roberts was doing that a couple times too. Like he was obviously the one person that was been in movies before when you compare him to everyone else, but he was running out of steam too.
All air units. This is National Security Advisor Marcos. I repeat, do not fire on the simian.
But I'm going to give him some credit. He's a 66-year-old man. This lady had no business
And he would like crack a smile like, I didn't do that. Fuck this.
I don't care. Yeah, he didn't fucking care. He was probably like, taking a fart break.
Monkey in the thing. I don't know what. Okay.
Naturally. We lost contact with the Elbe August 12th, 2007.
And contact.
Okay.
They probably had to edit out all his gas.
There's a guy wearing a bug sprayer, and I'm like, oh my god, they think that's a flamethrower. And it's a plastic tank where you can see the liquid inside it.
Yeah, you're right. Doesn't matter how, long as it burns.
And I'm like, oh my god, do you understand?
He gets so into it too. Right before he gets stepped on, he's like, ah! Like with the fucking flamethrower.
He gets a little burned.
The flame.
Yeah. That guy was great.
The monkey's like, I don't want to be on fire, and they're just not on fire anymore.
Yeah.
On fire.
Awesome.
When she says, "Does that look like a tail to you?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Does that look like a tail to you?
Possibly, or just a glitch caused by interference.
There's nothing on camera at all.
I said out loud, literally, girl, no. Like, what the fuck? No. What's wrong with you?
My other favorite lines is, do you need backup? No, we got this.
Do you need any support? Troops, equipment?
Negative, sir. I've got all the backup I need.
It's just like, what? What do you mean you got this? You're driving at these fucking creatures with you and your friend.
The monkey is locked up in its little solitary confinement thing. And the army dudes show up.
Go, go, go! Secure the area!
And they're like, all right, we gotta shoot this thing. And
Doctor, we have orders to shoot the beast if he tries to exit this lab.
She's like, those walls will contain it. It'll be fine.
No! That glass is transparent armor.
Those walls could stop a howitzer.
3 feet thick. You could fire a howitzer directly at it and it wouldn't.
It's like, we've got armor-piercing bullets.
We have armor-piercing shells. Prepare to fire.
No.
Take aim.
Don't, please.
And I'm like, do you know what a howitzer is? What are you talking about?
That's what I like to call a red flag in a script. Something like that.
Yeah.
No one knows how anything works. No one knows what anything is. No one knows how to react to anything. Everything is wrong. Everything didn't. Yeah, it was just the weirdest shit. It was like watching a movie. It was like watching like 6 movies just like cut together, and they're like, I wonder if anyone will notice.
If I remember when your daddy first brought you to the Kennedy Space Center, you crawled over that console, started pushing buttons, and damn near started World War III.
They have the cheese that I like, though. Like people just having the wrong weapons for a situation. Like, they're going out to, like, pick up a pod, and a dude has, like, a World War II or Vietnam-style rocket launcher.
Do we really need this much firepower?
When Russia's involved, better safe than sorry. Move out!
That he is aiming up, like what's gonna come at me? Like
they're all pointing in different directions, like they're doing like poses, like they're in like
they know that they're in the movie called Ape Vs Monster, but like at that point they do not character-wise know something will be gigantic.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, they are in an open desert, and our characters are being snuck up on and attacked and killed.
What's that?
Did you hear that?
By a gigantic monkey. And then our main character, not only does she not see the monkey, she like trips and falls over like the only obstacle, a dead body, her friend in the area, and her head like hits a rock.
The only rock in a 30
The
mile.
only rock.
It's so funny. And then
Who put this rock here?
Looking thing, amazing.
Was it the same animation that the Gila monster got him over the flat ground, but they put a hill in right there?
Yeah, they literally took that in post. They cut a piece out so that he could spring up out of it, but then they maintained the shot. See, you're like, well, that's not a hill.
You sure about that?
Broke my brain. It looked like the Earth was like 3 square miles total, and this thing was coming around the curvature of the Earth and just like plucking.
It's so
and
good.
It happens twice.
It happens twice. It's the same animation.
It's
same
amazing.
fucking. Oh my god!
Did you like how
our
how the
gorilla
lab
friend
tech
does it?
Yeah.
When the gorilla friend kills the best friend, he's just like. Like over the corner, like, I'm not safe anywhere, daughter. Doesn't matter if I'm inside or outside. They're giants. Leave me here. I'm at the best vantage point I can have.
I can give you live updates on location of the Gila monster and Abraham. Go, get the job done. I'll be with you the whole way.
Shut up.
The dialogue is so great. Did you like how Lab Tech Jones though like punches the window and then they tries to pull it off, like the dialogue of like that's harder than it looks or whatever the fuck right at the end.
Oh yeah.
When they have to get into Scott Lang's van that's on the roof from like the Avengers, or they fucking like move the plot and then like defuse the Christmas light bomb and all that shit, right? He punches the window and I was like, why are you happening?
Make that look so much easier in the movies.
This guy, by the way, I have to issue a like small correction because he does have other credits. He does have a career. He is a casting director. He is not an actor.
Was he a casting director on this movie?
I don't know. Why do you think
that
he
would
put
be
himself?
funny? We can't possibly fill this role. I got you.
I
This
feel like
was his big break.
I feel like someone left, and he was like, well, I'm done casting the film, so I guess I'll be the lab tech, whatever, fuck it or something.
I'm the understudy. I'm the only one that knows all the lines.
It was adorable though, because it was literally they just like put the, I don't know, some kind of effect where it looked like glassy, and then he just punched the screen, and then the animation.
With his T-shirt wrapped around his hand or whatever.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. There was a little like in post stuff that was just fun. That was just like, okay, that you want to see in this kind of a movie. So that was good. Like the helicopter that's also poorly animated and all these things, the plugins for the explosions, all that's fine. It's just like that's the kind of shit that we signed up for to even watch this thing. But but the aggregate of it was more aggravating than anything else I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, just the fact that there's no actual monsters doing anything really, because they're like guerrilla warriors, no pun intended, just like, yeah, got him, it's over, okay, and then that minuscule fight at the end. There's not enough funny, stupid things like when the thing first crashes on Earth and they're like, we got a single picture of it. We don't know what it was. I'm like, what? How long would it be traveling at? What speed was it going that it didn't just annihilate the Earth that you can only get one single picture? You're in a goddamn space station.
Is that from one of those Justice Leagues though, where they're like, oh, we have a picture. It says like Wayne Tech or whatever, Bruce Corp. It says some shit on the side, right? Is that? I feel like everything is stolen from the literal thing where they were like, come on, give me scenes, guys. Think of scenes.
Well, this is a company that kind of like, makes its mark off of doing that. So like none of that surprises me or would really cause any issues. It's just the fact that like if you're gonna take from this, that, and the other thing, like do it hammier or do it worse. Like it's just there's too much filler.
The movie is less than the sum of its parts.
They're just like the actors are trying. Yeah, the actors are trying, which is like stop trying in this. Because like it's just coming off as even worse. It felt like
Star Trek. Lennon, no, your mom. What? Lennon. Oh shit, gotcha.
Yeah.
They kept going back to the well, like, oh, we wrote a script, motherfucker. We're not doing this day by day. I thought of this ahead of time. Fuck you.
Our one fight is just as important as the result that it yields. We're done, thank you.
Still quoting Lennon?
Star Trek.
I like watching a rated G porn. Like that's how great the acting.
Well, like parts like that Lennon your mom business makes me think that they took an existing script for something and said like, okay, let's quick adapt it to this, and that made them pull out, gut and make worse everything else. Because I don't think that someone would actually like let me write some fun things for a movie that is just a cash grab. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they would, but it gave me some weird mixed message kind of vibes. Had that vibe to it.
They had a Black Widow ripoff movie called Tarantula that they were just about to scrap, but they're like, we'll use that character. We'll put him in Ape vs Monster.
I like where this is going. Do you think that's what good asylum films do though? Is they just find another movie and they go, it's got a big spider in it now. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And you're
it's like
okay.
a Russian nesting.
They already had a movie that kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I got we can salvage this or whatever.
Well, I would wager, and again, I don't know anything about this, but my thought is that the good asylum films, those ones that are not aping something, are people they have worked with in the past. Or like, I wrote this idea, and they're like, okay, can you do it for $2 million? And they're like, yeah, I can do that. Okay, we need this, that, and the other thing, and they go, okay, I can fit that in there, and you end up with a movie that I enjoy.
They're like, can you do it for $2 million? He's like 1.5, and it's like, why are you negotiating against yourself? And he's
because
like,
I'm keeping 500,000.
Fucking keep it real. What? Okay, fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Ape vs Monster, things that we haven't addressed or you want to touch base on before we, wrap this boy up?
Oh, Molotov cocktease. Yeah, that's who she was.
You cocktease!
I don't have a thought on this movie, let alone a last thought.
No, like it's always fun to talk to the boys about a movie, but I would say I would probably have had a better time talking about literally any movie. Like this is something where I think you could like pop a bang and still fall asleep. Like it's got nothing going for it. There's no like moments of suspense or action or comedy. There's nothing like super competent where you're like, oh, that's cool. How'd they do that? Like it doesn't have that going for it. It's just a trick. Like, oh, that Godzilla movie's coming out next month. We're gonna come out in 2 weeks. Haha, grandmas, you're gonna rent this one. Like that's what this is.
That's right. Skip this one in theaters. Oh wait, no, it doesn't go to the theater. I'm sorry.
It did have a theatrical release.
Oh my god,
I think That's always a
theatrical
scam.
release.
Yeah, exactly. It premiered in one theater that the cast got to see.
Tarantino's house. It premiered there.
This is the bottom. This is the bottom. This isn't good bad. It's not bad. It's just embarrassing. It's just should be sued because this should be sued. This is not a movie.
And it shouldn't be sued for trademark infringement. It should be sued for just killing my day.
Killing my time.
Literally crimes against humanity. Wasting. How much life will be wasted by this movie existing? Ours have been impacted irreparably. Think about all the other people who will receive this as a gift, who will watch it accidentally on streaming. The elderly, the mentally infirm, all sorts of vulnerable people who will be preyed upon by these bastards.
Yeah.
Not even the sweaty Eric Robert fans will appreciate this.
Good God! And you're the biggest. Of them all,
I know. I run the website, so.
All right, that's what we have to say about Ape Vs Monster. Thank you for joining us. You want to tell the people one more time where they can find you?
On Twitter at John the Host, or on Twitter at The Cult of Films. That's pretty much what I'm doing. And on YouTube also, yeah. I don't just do movie reviews for Twitter. So there you go.
I picture you going, nope.
That's almost what you did. You're kind of like, oh no, I'm on the internet.
No.
You'll find me.
Yeah.
All right, guys, fuck off. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Hey, heroes, welcome.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion.